we start our Alaskan cruise with a day just cruising. Hi, Michelle here from Travelling Over 60. Come join me on this adventure. Here's our map. We're going a different way this time. We finished in Vancouver and then we have a day just cruising before day 2 where we get off at Tracey Arm Inlet, which is about here. And then we continue on to Juneau. Now, our itinerary said that day 1 was scenic cruising, but don't for 1 minute think that that's boring. Look what we saw.
Dolphins or something.
Porpoises. Now, we were lucky enough to have a veranda room, so we got up in the morning and just went out on our veranda. And this is what we were greeted with on day 1. Porpoises. There was so many of them, and they were just jumping around having the time of their life. So we decided to go up to the crow's nest and see what we could see up there, because we could only see one side. Now, I have mentioned in a previous video, it was packed up there. But we managed to get a spot, and you spend a lot of time just looking out at the ocean. But then you'll hear the crowd do this. And you know they've seen something.
Which side was it? That was straight ahead again. There was one wide out, just touched to the left.
It feels like the ship is turning to the right, which means we're turning out of the way of this wall. And you might see a tail here. Watch out for that tail.
There it is.
Now, some people spend all day up in the crow's nest, especially the ones that don't have a veranda. But we headed off, we explored the ship, had dinner, and then early to bed because we've got a big day tomorrow. Hi everybody, I'm so glad you've come to watch this video. This is amazing. Here I am with that word again. But this was such a great excursion we did. So today we're going to be off on the Tracey Arm Inlet excursion. It was amazing. Okay, we're up really early this morning because we've booked to go on the Tracey Arm Fjord and Glacier Explorer. And if this is something that you want to do, you need to book this as soon as you book your cruise. Go along, have a look, and if the excursion's available, book it straight away. Don't think about it because it books out quickly. Now, your tickets will be on the navigator on your app, but they also were delivered to our room, which has all the details of where we have to meet and at what time. Time for our weather check-in. It's 2 degrees, but it feels way colder than 2 degrees in Canada. I'm not sure why. Now, we had on jeans and thick woolly socks, our walking boots, because we know we're going to do something after Tracey Arm Inlet. And we had our thermals on. It was cold enough for them. Now, we also had a long sleeve t-shirt, a jumper, a jacket, gloves, scarf, hat, and we took our ponchos. Now, we've been using our backpacks all through Canada, so we used it today as well. So bring a backpack if that's what you want to use. But lots of people didn't have backpacks, and we were lucky enough that Holland American Line was celebrating 150 years, and they gifted everybody one of these bags each in our stateroom. So some people use these bags. Now, what to put in them? Definitely your camera. And looking at the snow, it was quite bright, so bring your sunglasses. You might want your binoculars, a poncho. It rained. Water bottle, some sealed snacks, maybe like some little crisps, chips or something like that. And bring your money, because there's a bar on board. Okay, let's talk about how this works. So the Koningsdam's just cruising along and it slows right down about 9 a.m. Another ship, I suppose it's called, or a boat. Tell me in the comments, which one is it? And it only holds about 170 people. It pulls up alongside the ship, and then the 170 people get off through a small door onto this smaller ship. And I'm going to show you some footage. I apologize, it's not the best footage, but I was terrified walking across this gangplank to get onto the smaller ship. I'm not very good with doing that. Now it's a long excursion. It's 6 hours. We spend the time on this boat and then we go round. We're going to see a whole lot of things, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then we go back and meet up with the ship at Juneau. So the ship keeps cruising along till it gets to Juneau, and then it will dock and you'll get off and do your excursions if you didn't come on the Tracey Arm Inlet excursion. Now the reason they do that is our big ship's too big to go down there. But we've been really looking forward to this. I just want to see an iceberg, a bit like the bear in Canada. I want to see an iceberg in Alaska. So at 8:15 we made our way down to the world stage, and that's our meeting point. Once we got there, we waited for everybody to come, and at 9 a.m. we all made our way around to the little doorway where we have to walk off the ship. Now don't forget, it said bring your passport, so we took our passport, but you will also need to bring your key card, the one that gets you in and out of your stateroom, because you're going to swipe off to get off the ship and you'll need to swipe back on to get on the ship. So don't forget that. Let's have a look. Now when we got down here at where the door is, it was freezing. They'd opened the door already and you could just feel the cold air coming in. So lucky we were all rugged up. Now, the ground was really flat. It really isn't that hard to walk onto the other ship. There's a gangplank, so you're just going to walk across, but I don't like to look down and see the water below.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Welcome aboard. Good morning. Careful.
Phew, we're on board now. Now you can get a seat down here on this section here, but here's a bit of a tip. I wished we did this. You can go up to the observation deck upstairs and there's another section of covered over seating. Now I couldn't get any video of it because there were so many people in there. But you could be in that covered area and then just step in and out to the observation deck without getting wet. Like you would step out when it was not raining and you'd just quickly step back in. But if you're downstairs, you have to go up and downstairs all the time. Now this excursion is not for somebody in a wheelchair. It's too hard to get onto this smaller ship. The other thing is there's stairs to go up to the observation deck, but if you could manage it with a walking stick, you probably still could come on this. But keep in mind, you will only be on that lower deck unless you can make the stairs. But don't be disappointed if you can only make it to the lower deck, because most of my photos were taken from down on the lower deck through a window. Take a look at this one. Yep, waterfalls. You're going to see a lot of them. Okay, let's talk about the weather. It was typical Alaskan weather. It was overcast and cloudy and it poured down, but sometimes it just sprinkled and sometimes the sun was out. And it was just so confusing at what the weather was going to do. But we went with the moment. If the rain stopped, we quickly ran out on the observation deck, took some photos, and then raced back inside. We also took plenty of photos through the glass from down the bottom. Okay, we're off. So it's about 9:30 now, and the cruise ship's going to keep cruising along to Juneau. we've turned the corner and we're heading towards Sawyer Glacier. I mentioned you're going to see lots of waterfalls. Let's just enjoy them. As you can see, some are even frozen. Now, while we're travelling along, you're looking at all these beautiful waterfalls, but don't forget to keep an eye out for the wildlife. You're going to see eagles and seals in the water, and if you're lucky enough, you might see a bear on the water's edge. Now, the weather was holding out, so we made our way up onto the observation deck. And look what we saw in the distance. Now, I thought this might be the only iceberg I see, so a big thank you to my husband that I made take 1,000 selfies with the iceberg. But wait till you see what comes. I was so excited, another iceberg with birds on it. Let's zoom in and look at those birds. Now remember, I've never seen icebergs before. And then I saw this blue one. Wow! Here's another little one. And I'm going to look out for bears while I'm up here. Trying to focus on the edge, they tell me they come down to the water to drink. So I'm just looking really hard to find one. And then this happened! What on earth? You're right. Now here's a close-up of it. I'm not sure what I thought I was going to see, but this was not it. I was so overwhelmed by the colour and the size. And then there was more and more of them. I didn't expect to see so many. Now these ones, of course, are smaller, but I just thought that I would see maybe one or two. But as we're travelling along, there was lots just floating, and we got up so close to them, I didn't think that that was going to happen either. Now I have no more words to describe them. Well, maybe amazing. Now I just wanted to show you this one. I did take this through the window, and of course you can see a reflection there. But if you put your camera up against the window, then you'll get a sight like this. Let's just enjoy these. Now I just want to show you there was other little boats and some ships out on the water with us. There was a National Geographic ship that was there, and they got out into little zodiacs and went right up close to the glacier and around the icebergs. So they're doing a whole lot of research out there as well. It was really interesting to see them pottering around in amongst the icebergs. And here is our first glimpse of the Sawyer Glacier. Now we made our way up round the right-hand corner here through these icebergs and we got right up close, although then the rain came down. Now these are really terrible photos. I'm just showing you these so that you can see it poured, and this is the water on the glass. Now if you want to venture out up onto that observation deck and stand out in the rain, you will still get some great photos. We did spend a little bit of time here, enough time to go right down close, and the boat turned around and the rain went to a sprinkle and then it stopped. We quickly raced outside onto that observation deck and we got some photos. Now don't think that you have to go up to the observation deck to get some photos. Some of my photos, actually most of them, are through the window. I bet you can't even tell which ones are and which ones aren't, other than there's a reflection on some of them, or the window frame in some of them, but I don't mind that. I don't mind taking photos even when it was raining and through the window with dots on the glass. I don't mind giving the photos the character of the day. That's what was happening on the day. Now I hope you're enjoying my photos, but keep in mind you may not get these same photos. Depending on what the day's like and how close you can get, it will be different. It's nature. Now talking about nature, you've got to keep a lookout for those animals, the wildlife. Now can you see on the icebergs? Right back there, all these little black spots are seals. You get right up close to some of them. In a minute you're going to see, I'm going to point out which one it is coming up. This is a tiny little baby seal. Now we were really lucky to see this baby seal for a long time because they actually stop and scoop up some of the iceberg ice. Take a look at it. Now, I don't know what I was thinking. I am such a germ phobia, but yep, they crushed that piece up and they put it in my drink and we tried it and drank it. What about all the germs and the seals weeing on those icebergs? Anyway, I did it. I got to hold it as well, and I also drank just one of the drink made with the iceberg ice. Now's a good time to remind you, don't forget that selfie. I think we took hundreds. Now we start to make our way back to meeting up with the ship in Juneau. Before we do that, I just want to mention the food on board. Now, people often ask, it says you are supplied a snack. That's exactly what it is. It's a snack. I think we got 4 little crackers. But they do sell food on board, so take your wallet if you're going to purchase. But remember at the beginning of the video, I did say pack some sealed snacks, like some chips or biscuits or something that's sealed. And you can take that on board and over the 6 hours, just nibble on it. And when you get back to the ship, you can go up and there's plenty of food on the ship. Now, just enjoy these last icebergs I'm showing you here, and then I'll talk about getting back on the ship. And approximately 2 hours later, we made it back to the ship that's now docked in Juneau. Now, this gives you a little bit of a look at how we had to get back onto the ship. Now, you don't go and get off at the dock. you have to go back into the cruise ship, swipe your card to get back on, so now you're accounted for, and then if you want to go back onto the dock, you can then swipe off and walk out the other side of the ship. And that's exactly what we did. We went straight through, swiped off, and got on the dock because we wanted to do something else. Let's take a look at getting back on. I was really glad I had a hood on my jacket because it was raining. Now, it wasn't pouring, but enough that we put our hoods on and just stayed dry because you have to line up. We walked out the side door, around the back of the ship there, and then you have to line up to get onto the gangplank. Now, this gives you a bit better look of the gangplank. It is sloped, and you are going to have to line up. There's a railing to hold on to, but I was a bit wary about stepping across that water. I don't like it when you look down and you can see water underneath you. For those of you that don't know, that haven't followed me, I can't swim, so I'm terrified of the water. Now, my husband knows this and he tried to help, but of course I wanted to just wait. And as soon as there was enough room on the other side, I walked straight across so I didn't have to be standing still above the water. And I'm back on the ship. Now you can see in this next bit, I'm swiping on and we're still lined up. Be patient. Did you love that Tracey Arm Inlet excursion and seeing all those icebergs? If you did, now's a perfect time to give me a thumbs up. Okay, now the next part of this day, we walked straight through the ship. We didn't even stop to use the bathroom, nothing like that, straight through, off the other side, and then we went across and booked some tickets ourselves. So it was a private tour, not through the ship. And we booked on the blue bus that would take us up to Mendenhall and Nugget Falls. And if you want to see that, there's a part 2. You'll have to wait and watch that in the next video. So come along and join me on the rest of this adventure. There's so much more to see and you don't want to miss it. Have you already subscribed to my channel? If not, this is your friendly reminder to do so. It costs you nothing, but it helps me out so much. Thanks for supporting me.